Hey everybody, just bringing you another video here. The third one in 2 days. I have no life thus far. So the next dream I'm going to be talking about is a dream that I had several years ago, and by far it's one of the best dreams I've ever had. This is one of those awesome dreams that I've been telling you about where my friends would get really jealous of it. I mean, everything about this dream was amazing. I mean, it involved fighting, it involved powers. It was just freaking awesome, alright? And to basically put it, it kind of came out something like this. So it starts out with this big open room, and it's got a smaller room inside with 2 open doorways. Now, this whole place is covered with stone. Like, the bottom is the inside of a castle. But you don't need to see that, because that would just kind of get in the way of this. Now, there's a small arena, and it's covered together by chains there, 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 and there. Chained to the wall. And underneath this arena that's suspended over lava, and you can feel the heat radiating from it. I end up appearing on the arena standing above the lava. I don't know how I got there, that's just where the dream started. I'm just standing there on top of this arena, and I don't feel like myself, alright? I look myself over, and I'm wearing this blue uniform with the pads on the side. I kind of came out looking a little something like this. Oh yeah. Yeah, I was Sub-Zero. Alright, and to prove that to myself, I held my hands out like this, and I just started thinking, what if I had his powers as well? So I do this little concentration crap, like how do you think you would shoot something out of your hand? And I just concentrate really hard on making something appear. And I open my eyes and look my hands over. They're covered with frost. My first thought was, freaking awesome! That was my first thought. It was amazing. My second thought was, what's going on? Alright? So I'm here, I'm standing on this arena, and there's lava around me, underneath me. The arena is held together by the chains that I mentioned, and it's not completely stable, so walking on it made it wobble a little bit. But I'm standing there, I'm looking the place over, and then I feel a sudden rush of heat next to me. I look over and there's this gargantuan flame rising up from the arena, and I'm thinking, what is going on? So from out from this flame comes this figure that is kind of dressed like me, but is yellow. Kind of looks something like this. Yeah, it was Scorpion. The funny thing about this is that he had this mask on over his face, so all I could see was his eyes, because he had the black hood on over as well. And from that, I was still able to tell that this was my friend Justin, but dressed up as Scorpion. Don't get me wrong, if you know the Mortal Kombat story, you know that Sub-Zero and Scorpion have a feud. Okay? That didn't change in the dream. Even though he's my friend, I still had this hatred going on towards him. So he rises up out of the flames, and I look at him, and he looks at me, and we just kind of stare at each other. It was a stare down. He turns back and looks at me and he says, "You know I've come for you, right?" You know what? It doesn't matter, because you aren't taking me. He did not agree. Now, this is the part where things start getting interesting. Bam! He throws out his little spear, and it comes flying at me, and this thing was alive. Okay, this little spear thing was chomping. Okay, it was alive, and it was flying at me. I dive out of the way, alright? It's a small arena, but I didn't care. I was not going to let this thing munch on me. So I dive out of the way, roll on my shoulder, back onto my feet, and I do this awesome thing. I throw a little freeze ball at him. Just shot it right at him. And he pulls out his little sword from behind his back and slices it as it comes at him. And then throws out another little spear. I somehow magically learned to backflip like a boss. And I'm just flipping back onto the land. I run, I jump onto the arena, and I throw some ice underneath me. So I slide up to him and go to uppercut. Would have been sweet and amazing if Scorpion didn't know how to teleport. Alright, so this guy in the flames appears behind me, and I see his sword coming over. As I turn, I pivot on my foot, and I spin, and just clock him in the side of the head. So he goes rearing back, he's like, oh! And at that moment, I felt a small bit of sympathy for him, because he's my friend. But at the same time, I gotta remember, it's Scorpion, okay? I can't be friends with him. So I go over, and as he's like, oh, my head! I gut him in the stomach, okay? I punch him in the stomach, he bends over, I knee him up, and as he's flying up, I grab him by the neck, slam him on the ground, and it started to form this little ice thing going on, okay? Now I'm about to, like, kill him. Basically put it, I was about to kill him. And then all of a sudden, that's when something like this started to happen. Yes. In comes Noob Saibot. He appears over at the front. Pull up my diagram again. Appears right here. Alright? And it's just him. And he's standing there. I'm still standing over Scorpion about to finish him off. And I look up, and there's Noob Saibot. If you don't know the Mortal Kombat story, Noob Saibot was killed. Alright, he wasn't originally Noob Saibot. Originally, he was Sub-Zero. The first Sub-Zero. And he was killed a long time ago, and then Quan Chi, which is some sorcerer bad guy in the game, resurrects him to make him do his bidding. Alright, that's Noob Saibot. He is this reincarnated Sub-Zero demon guy. So I look up, and all I see is Noob Saibot. I don't see him as my brother, even though I am Sub-Zero. I don't see him that way. I just see bad guy, fudged, okay? So Scorpion, I have my foot on his neck, so him talking was kind of hard to do. Alright, but I hear him say, Gabe, let me out. We gotta get this guy. I'm hesitant, okay? This is my freaking mortal enemy down here. I'm about to finish him off. Some bad guy shows up. Things are starting to get real now, okay? So I think, okay, if worst comes to worst, I'll just bust out of here. They won't even know. I'll be gone. So I let Scorpion up. He turns to me and he's like, Sub-Zero, we don't really have a choice right now. We need to work together or we're gonna die. I turn to him, I'm like, Scorpion, there's only one of him. What's the worst thing he can do? That was stupid of me to say. Okay, this kid, Noob Saibot, can multiply. Alright? Made of